Good morning, and morning indeed. It is. It is currently 5:56 here in Chicago. It is still dark out, and I hate these fixtures. But welcome everyone who is awake and who might be tuning in. It might just be a couple of us guys here talking to each other with no one to cheer us on the side, but that's okay. All we need is each other. So we have a pretty, I guess, a shortened version of what our typical pre-match show would be like, given the fact that the game's starting in about half an hour, and it is pretty early. Not as early as it is on the East Coast. Welcome, Gally. How are you?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yep. You're good. It's morning, man. You're good. Go for it. You can't hear me? Hello? Well, that's okay. We're going to lose Gally for a little bit, but even earlier than it is in Chicago, Kazi, how are you?
Gally looks like he just woke up from a coma.
He woke up, looked at the lineup, was like, fuck, I'm still asleep, man. What's going on?
Yeah, man, 4 a.m. Yeah, for this wonderful standard.
And I think, what is it? We saw, or I saw, maybe it was passed on in the Discord, maybe I saw it online, that Liverpool, since Klopp has joined, there has been no Premier League club that has as many starts at this time as Liverpool has. I think it's been 12.
Yeah.
And the closest one has been at least half of that.
Yeah.
So any thing that you want to say about? Do you think there's some sort of weird controversy regarding some of these early kickoffs?
Well, they also know that if Liverpool don't perform in these games, it gets more eyes on the product. Unfortunately, when Liverpool lose, it's a massive story and it's a massive thing. And since Klopp has been at the club, we don't really lose football matches.
Yeah.
So, when it does happen, it's like a big, huge story. So that's why. I think also it didn't help Klopp's cause when he had the thing with Des Kelly a couple of years ago about the early kickoffs, because now they're just going to keep putting them on more and more because they're going to get reactions out of them. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, and now that we can get a reaction out of Gally, let's welcome him back into the show. Hello, sir. Good morning.
I'm good, guys. How are you guys doing? Now that I can hear you, I was trying to figure out how to use. I'm in a hotel room in Orlando. We were up till late enough that I'm
an hour ago.
Yeah, I'm about as tired as Kazi.
Yeah,
Kazi hasn't been to bed. Makes sense. But yeah, so I couldn't get the earbuds to work. So I guess Kelly gets to listen to the pre-match show from bed, which probably won't make my flight home this morning that much joyfuller. But good to see you guys. How we all doing?
Good. Are you missing the match then on the flight? Is that what's going on?
No, I might have booked us a little later flight because I knew we had a 7:30 kickoff. My goal was to actually go to the Orlando supporters bar this morning. But I realized where it was downtown because we went there for the soccer match on Thursday night with the U.S. game. But it's great. They have 60 people registered to come this morning at 7:30. So Orlando Reds, you do it right if you got 60 people showing up for 7:30. So maybe sometime jump on one of these with us and give us a little insight because the bar's really cool too. Kazi, you would have loved it. They had legit English style fish and chips and legitimate beef stew that you could eat at 10 o'clock at night. It was Kelly got the potato leek soup. So now that everybody's hungry, we can get them ready for a little bit of an appetizer this morning for breakfast. As we get to eat wolves for breakfast this morning, which is a good feeling.
Nice. And I mean, speaking of eating and weird transitions, Timothy, how hungry are you?
How hungry? Was it a fat joke?
No, I was going to say, how hungry are you this morning? Because it's so early. No, I knew. God damn it!
It's too early for that. It's too early.
That was a fat joke, and yeah, it is too early. I'm called for it. I'll tell you what. This makes the morning coffee show look like the afternoon tea show when you wake up this early for this.
I knew it. I knew my transitions are done. I'm never saying anything again because it all is just going to get taken out of context. Well, anyway, Kwanzaa, as we see under Kazi's name there. Let me share the lineup here. Let's take a look. Initial thoughts, Kazi, when you first saw this lineup pop up, what are you looking at? How do you feel?
The Kwanzaa thing's interesting. I think clearly he has a lot of faith in him. Clearly. You know, it's the same midfield before anyone loses their mind. It's the same midfield I think who started against Villa, who dominated the game against one of the best sides in the league, in my opinion. So I'm happy he's gone with that. I'm super excited for the team, to be honest. Yes, we haven't got a proper holding midfield there, but again, we limited Villa to chances with that midfield. If Liverpool want to play a basketball game with Wolves, and like if you score, we score, Liverpool will score more goals than Wolves. I'm very confident with that. The one that surprised me the most is McAllister over Kwanzaa, because he's the one who was like on the oxygen tank in Bolivia like 2 days ago when he's relieving the oxygen thing, and I'm like, so I thought out of all the South American lads, he definitely wouldn't play because we have got the Bajcetic option and, you know, Gravenberch is there now and stuff like that. Endo's on the bench. So I was thinking, well, he's definitely not going to play. So I kind of called the front three. I thought that would be the front three he would go for, just because of basically a travelling alone. I know Darwin had that weird, you know, muscular thing. He should be fine, but you'd rather not play him. If Liverpool go 2-3-0 up today, early doors, he's never going to play. Nunes is not getting a game today. Just to take a look. So I'm excited, man. I can't wait. I'm super, you know, what we've seen from Kwanzaa the last couple of games, he looks very competent. So hopefully, fingers crossed, you know.
This is a good full debut to give Kwanzaa. And speaking of debuts, better transition. Gordo, welcome to the pre-match show. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning. About as tired as you all look, I think.
It's good to hear. Gally, your initial thoughts on the lineup. I know that Kazi mentioned the McAllister thing. Do you think McAllister just has the miles on his legs ready to go? Do you think it's more of a trust thing? What do you attribute that to?
If you're asking me why Jurgen Klopp went against what I believed would happen in a rotation question, then basically we could ask that whether it was 7 p.m. and I was wide awake. I never try to question what he's doing there. I do think I thought McAllister, like Kazi, was going to sit today, at least from the start. The oxygen tank, the long travel. You know, is he 23 years old, 24, and have lots of miles in his legs? Yes. Did he also play a whole hell of a lot of football with Brighton and Argentina in the last 18 months? Yes. A lot of travel there. And if there was a start for Endo, it felt like Wolves at home, a team that needed a defensive-minded person to sit in front of your young player and not someone that ventures a little forward or rotating with Curtis. But I think this just shows two things. One, Klopp has enormous amount of faith in Curtis Jones, feeling like he can rotate around and do that job along with McAllister. I also think it shows that as good as Szoboszlai has been, McAllister in Klopp's mind is every bit as important of a signing and doing every bit as important of minutes each week through the first 4 weeks. So I think Klopp knows Liverpool's in a position right now of real strength with some fixtures that they can go on a run. And if they can put together results in their next 4 matches the way they did their first 4, they put themselves in a real good shout to be the one side trying to stay close to City and chasing them down by the end of the year. So this feels like Klopp looking a little bit in the rearview mirror or the crystal ball about how poorly they've played these 7:30 matches and saying, let's just bleep and go for it from the jump. Let's get a lead, and I'll rest these guys on Tuesday. Thanks, UEFA, for the pot that you put us in and the group that you put us in, because I can use those matches to play the fringe players and give these big guns a rest. So I think we should get used to seeing this midfield for a while until Gravenberch breaks into it. I think this is our best 3 and our starting 3 for the foreseeable future in big matches.
So, Timothy, with that being said, with the midfield 3, if we do see Gravenberch come in, is the solution to having no 6 having 3 8s? Is that potentially what we're looking at?
I know. I think it's more about, like the Kwanzaa thing kind of like wakes you up even more in the morning. I was not expecting that. I was hoping for Konate, but I don't feel as panicked because Gomez is there, odd as it sounds, because I think that's like a more defensive right back over there to shore up the back line. Midfield, I almost feel like there's not enough trust in Endo yet. I think if Konate was playing, maybe you do put Endo there because you have more faith in your center back pairing. I think you kind of put McAllister there, somebody more experienced and somebody more familiar with the system to kind of protect those two. And then you have like Jones. And I mean, I think if you look at it, if you're a Klopp, you're probably looking at this saying, you look at that front 5, if you will, and not that McAllister stays that far back. they should be able to get you goals. I mean, they have the quality to get you goals. So then when the piece you're adding from the midfield is more to protect that back too. And I'm assuming he has more faith in McAllister protecting them than Endo protecting them at this stage. So that's Endo doesn't play another away game now with the center back pairing he's not familiar with. And like Gally says, that's what the Europa games are for him to get more comfortable with that.
At least we hope that's what the Europa League games will be for.
Yes, I guess. Yeah, that's true.
Gordo, do you, I guess, obviously it depends on how the game is going. Do you feel like this is a good fixture to see the likes of Gravenberch for the first time come in the second half? Or do you, obviously it depends on how everything goes, but.
Right. I said it on one of the Wednesday shows. It's just such a Klopp mentality to basically leave guys that he targeted in the transfer window and just basically let them sit on the bench until November, December, and we usually don't see him until the second half of the year. We were talking about like Robertson and like how long it took him to kind of push Moreno, who I thought was like, should have been gone as soon as we got somebody capable to replace him. And it's just such a Klopp thing to kind of just leave somebody that we know that he wanted on the bench. So it doesn't surprise me that he's not there. But yeah, I do think that this is a great fixture to get anybody legs, which I think that's why we're seeing Kwanzaa here, is because I think that, this is an opportunity against a team that isn't what they used to be. I mean, Wolves were capable of taking scalps last year. This is not that Wolves team. This is a depleted team. I'd put big money on them being in one of 5 teams that go down this year. And so I think it's a good opportunity to see somebody, but it doesn't surprise me that he's not there.
It's interesting that way, because I don't know about you guys, because I feel like this feels like a cup tie. This feels like a cup game that we just got to get through. Just get through this. Like, I don't care what the performance is like. I don't care how we play. Just win this football match. I think.
Isn't that for any league game though? Overall, I mean, as long as we get the results,
of course.
What I mean. Get the 3 points.
But you do want to see patterns of play, don't you? You want to see where you're going, and you want to go on a journey with the team as well. I feel like when you look at the side, there's probably 6 players who probably start in our best 11, maybe 7. There's like Virgil, Canate kind of thing, and. There's an argument over Darwin would he start. I don't know really. It's kind of up in the air. So Diaz would start probably. So it just feels like a cup tie to me. Do you know what I mean? And as Gordo just rightly said, this is not the same Wolves side. This is a Wolves side who went up and got battered against Palace. I know the result was close, but on the game it wasn't close. They were unlucky against United, but United are dreadful, which is wonderful to see. So. I feel like if Liverpool score in the first 10, it genuinely could be a cricket score. We could win 5 or 6-0, genuinely, if we score in the first 10.
And part of getting through that, Gally, is the fact that this club has struggled at this fixture since Klopp has been here pretty much. And so that might be part of the feelings why we feel like we just need to sort of get through this fixture, because these early kickoffs just have not been on our side, especially last year.
They haven't been on our side. They clearly haven't been on our side results-wise coming off the international breaks. And I don't know if that's because we don't rotate as much coming out of them. And sometimes, we at times have started 4 South American players who showed up in the last 48 hours. I mean, I remember one time we went into a morning match. We all said all week we have to rotate. And he trotted out Bobby, Fab, Ali. Like, Fab picked up a knock in the game in like the 80th minute. They played on Thursday night and he was starting Saturday morning, right? Like, and I don't think that's what's happening here. I hope that we go at it. I said last week against Villa, if we score early, the whole match could turn on its head. We scored, before some people got their coffee finished and ready. I think there'll be a chance here if we can do the same thing today. Just don't leave this one late. Like, don't leave this to a 0-0, and we have to bring in Darwin and bring in Diaz and run everyone into the ground, because Tuesday does come quick. I'd like to see Elliott get some minutes today. He's earned them. I'd like to see Endo get on the pitch and, to Mutin's point, get more minutes and just get more familiar. It would be great to see Gravenberch, right? But all those things happen when Jota puts 2 ugly goals in the first 10 minutes and is literally doing the hand sign to the crowd and stoking everybody up. Like, to me, that's how this match turns itself around. It's a player like Jota, like, popping up out of nowhere. The other thing that's interesting, Mo has had like horror shows of matches at Molineux, like never had a good performance there. It's one of the few teams he doesn't put a big performance in against, and I could see him trying to change that early. You know, Mo is doing really well creating goals and still being talked about like he's like taking a step down and like he's ready for the Saudi League, like he has to go retire. I think we're ready now that he is locked in and there's no more rumors. He's going to go on a run here. Through like now to November, I could see Mo leading the Premier League in scoring. Who knows what it'll be by the end of the year, but I think we're about to see one of those 5-6 matches, and I hope it kicks off today.
And he's had goal involvements in the last 8-9 Premier League matches, something like that in a row. So
I think it's 10 on the bounce.
Yeah, so definitely it's not like he is underperforming. A big performance perhaps needed from Jarell Quansah. I know, Timothy, you mentioned it earlier, bit of a surprise. Do you feel like this is a fair litmus test for a kid like that, this fixture? Do you think it's too much? Do you think it's sort of just right?
If it was home, I would say just right. I think the fact that it's away is probably not as right, if you will. But I mean, no Premier League fixture is easy, especially away. So it is still a challenge for him. I worry as a lifestyle. So that's why I'm here, so that I can ease my nerves with you guys and listen to Kazi over here, you know, like singing glory songs already, so that I can feel better going into the game. But so I'm a bit more worried about the game than I would, just because it's away. But I think Gomez being there, like I said earlier, is better for Quansah than Trent being there, because he doesn't have to worry as much about covering Trent's space and stuff like that. And I don't see Gomez, I think Brian was saying it earlier in the comments, I don't see Gomez being too adventurous. Could have been told not to be adventurous, and that goes back to what I was saying. You should be able to say, you stay back, dude, pick your spots to move up. These front five should be able to get us a goal against Wolves, and I think that's when you kind of see if you can take advantage of the kid that way. I think what Gally is saying, in early leads makes everybody comfortable, including the kids, so that there's no like error making, like what's going to happen, like can cost us the games kind of a deal. So an early lead is a good recipe. Let's hope we get it.
Yes. And on the topic of Quansah and debuts, again, another debut this morning to finish my front five. Alex, good morning. How are you?
Doing good. It's super early in Utah. It's like 5 a.m. So I'm glad to be here.
we appreciate your commitment. Are you and Kazi on the same times then? Or
no, Kazi beats him.
You're still my goodness.
When you wake up at 4 a.m. and see Quansah starting, you just want to go,
So, Alex, first look at the lineup here. What we kind of have gone over a little bit of each in detail. What jumped out at you? Is there anything that you're expecting, anything that you're hoping for?
I'm really hoping. I saw a stat that Salah's 9 goals away from being in the top 10 in the Premier League. That's what I'm excited for. Like I'm excited for new faces, but I want to see him. I mean, he's committed. He avoided the Saudi Arabia money. He stayed here. I'm excited to see him score. Like I just feel like he's scoring. He's happy. Everything's clicking. That's what I'm looking for.
Especially away at Molineux, where Gally mentioned that it hasn't been the best place for him to play.
Yeah, he hasn't been great there. I want to follow on off what Tim said before about Quansah, though. At least with Liverpool today, they have an option off the bench. In Canate, if the kid's having a nightmare, you can bring Canate on, which is helpful. It's not like you're starting and you look and go, I don't want to do Endo centre half or something crazy, do you know what I mean? You don't want to do that. You've got a back up there, which is nice for Klopp to have, do you know what I mean? Liverpool have beat Wolves 12 out of 13 times in the league. Like they beat us once, that was last year, 3-0. And I know we're all permanently scarred from that game, because that was probably the lowest point last year, I think. I think Gomez and Matip let 2 in 5 minutes, didn't they? They both made mistakes, and we were just like, where do we go from here? So we are a bit scarred, but we've never kind of played well there. We've always won like 2-1 or 1-0. I remember Origi getting a late winner. Henderson header once.
1-0.
Henderson scored.
Look, Gally knows all the answers because he just answered trivia on Monday. Yeah, like before the 3-0, the last 3 wins, the 3 games over there were all 1-0, including the cup game.
That's insane, isn't it, really? And so, you know, I fancy us, I really do. They're wide open. Gary O'Neill's, I think he's still trying to work out what they actually are. I don't know if they're good. You know, Kuna looks like a tardy player. Tardy, I would say. I don't think he's anything special. So I think it's a great starting point for Quansah to really kick on. So
it's that black country era. That's what it is.
Just on time, Paul Bickler. Thank
It's
you
a fair
for
point from Biffler, to be fair.
yeah, I mean, hey,
Thank you,
It's
Paul.
a good shout. I got to say, it is a good shout by Bickler. I was waiting for him to roll through, especially when we brought up Alberto Moreno, because you knew his Liverpool was over. His Liverpool career was over the day that Bickler put his name on the back of a jersey. And Bickler is one of the last people left to wear a jersey out in public that still says his name on it, which is where I give him a lot of credit. But the man does go on bachelor trips to Montana, so we have to question.
Even Alberto Moreno doesn't want to wear his own name on the back. Even he looks and goes, I want someone else on the
He
team.
goes Albert.
I mean, we saw him up and like, God, it's 4 a.m., fella. You're going to be fucking Vietnam flashbacks here. Jesus
If I had a
Christ.
career like he did at Liverpool, I would have changed the name on the back of my jersey on my next club too.
Well, even in locker rooms in a different country, he's still singing the tune against Man U. So, like, I mean, he might not forget. He might not put his own name on the back of his shirt, but he'll put the LFC on the front of his shirt at least.
Yeah.
And you know, it's true. He just doesn't have any shame. So, thankfully, he's not on the show because it would really be pulled. So, Gordo, going into the Black Country, like you said, do we come out? Now that it's dark out, do we come out with some light? Is this if we get a win? These little things are going to get much worse over the year, you guys. This is just the beginning.
Love it. Yeah, well, it seems like a big banana peel, right? It's Wolves, which we're away at Wolves, which is never good. It's a 6:30 game, which we're never good. Oh. And I read a stat. I don't know if you guys read this. I showed up about 5 minutes late here, but it's Liverpool's 12th lunchtime arrival. Tottenham and Chelsea have 6. United have 5. City have 4. So it's pretty crazy that it's 12 for us. It seems like a banana peel. I woke up early. That's usually not a good thing. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. But it is a different Wolves. It's a different Wolves team. So I'm really hoping that I can ride the Kazi train of good luck and we can come away with this one. But I'm a little nervous.
Does anybody, to Serzi's point here, and then we'll get some predictions and we'll go and try and find a nice bed to lay in to watch the game.
No, that's when you fall asleep if you go late in bed. I mean,
it depends on how it starts.
That's the danger there.
That's true. I'm probably just going to sit here frozen for the next 2 hours anyway. Given Tierney is on VAR, let's say Gally, is this something that you're worried about? Do you just kind of just take the performance we can get and just get out of there? Hope for no controversy. This is the one from maybe a match this year we don't have any controversy.
Yeah, I mean, listen, here's the thing. I think honestly we could roll back, and 2 years ago it was Martin Atkinson. 5 years ago, 8 years ago it was Howard Webb. Like it's Bickler earlier this year. Kazi said it before in chats and in our group discussions. It's Liverpool versus the world, and the quicker these guys take that mantra to themselves, whether it's real or not, because part of this is I do think as supporters we just glam onto these things and then we just run with them and we never let the narrative end. Like at some point, I would like them to stop talking about it. Like stop talking about Tierney, stop talking about Anthony Gordon. You know, Kazi and I bumped in, and we had like this run in about Anthony Gordon after the last match against Wolves 2 years ago, the last match of the season. It is in the club and it's in their minds. And I don't think it helps the players in preparation when you're worrying about who the fourth official is or if Klopp's going to get in an argument or how the VAR is going to do. That said, let's just not put it in VAR's hands. Let's, make good runs, score, take our chances when we have them so we don't need the last second winner to not be chalked off for offsides or a penalty to be awarded by a guy who's not going to go out of his way to help us. But really, like, if we pay attention to our performances, we show up and play our football. It's kind of like the lunchtime kickoffs. The stats are what they are. You know how you change them? You go out and win. But I love what Klopp said yesterday in his presser that, this isn't a revamp of the team. This is a new team, and this is their team. So the way I look at it, you guys, the 5 of the starters today haven't played, or 4 of the starters today haven't really had big performances in the 12 bad performances at lunchtime kickoffs. So just go out there and play well. For all we know, McAllister was boss last time playing for Brighton at lunchtime coming off an international break, and take that into this match and just go with it. I think these are young guys. They're trying to make their way, and I hope that's what they build out of this and just stop kind of worrying about that stuff. But I understand why we talk about it. I just hope we don't have to talk about it, in the post-match or on Monday night or Wednesday or next Thursday. I got a feeling we will because it's the English refs. But, until then, take the mantra and just run with it.
This sounds like Timichin and I in the private chat during the StreamYard of him just going after me.
Oh man. Well, I mean, that's what you get when you call people fat first thing in the morning.
Not. We're gonna have to have a talk after this ends because that was not my intention, and I do feel bad. And for the past 22 and a half minutes, I've been sitting here thinking about how bad I feel and how I can try and make it up to you. So you can make it up to me. What is your score prediction for the end of this match?
I've been saying 3-0 all week, so why freaking change it now, I guess? Because they have a tough time scoring, and especially if we get the goal, I think we just control. And you look at that bench, there's a lot of players who can come in, like Endo and stuff, to help you kind of like control the game and, kind of like cruise through, similar to what we did against Villa, really, kind of slow it down and play it at our pace. So I'm going to stick with the 3-0.
Alex, how about you?
I'm going to go with a 3-1. I think we have enough firepower to be able to do it, but I think we've struggled being able to keep the ball out of our goal. So even with Wolves struggling to score, I think they're going to be able to knock it in. I'm just hoping that it's more of a consolation goal and not something where Liverpool's chasing it the entire time. Mm-hmm. That was bad last year. I'm tired of seeing an early goal in and then spending the entire time wondering if things are going to change.
Gordo?
Head says 2-1. History says 1-0, but my heart, I'm going to go with the 3-0 win. So let's do it.
Nice.
I was going to say my heart is saying 8-0, but history is saying otherwise. Kazi?
5-0 Liverpool. I genuinely think if Liverpool want to be a serious football team this year, you just go out and win the game. Let's find out what this team is. We have no idea what they are right now. But if you go out to Wolves with everything against you and you go out and put a performance in, it puts the stand up to the rest of the league. So 5-0 Liverpool.
Gally?
I said 3-0 on Monday night. I think I'm going to stick with it now. I think what it comes down to is they have a really good chance here to just go out and put in some goals. And I think to Kazi's point, if this were another team, and I think Alex said it as well, if this were another team and they went down 2-0, they'd open up and come forward and maybe hit them for more. I can see Gary O'Neill packing the bus in at 2-0 down and saying, let's get out of here 2-0 down. Goal difference is going to mean a lot to Wolves come the end of the year. It's like a point when you have this many bad teams in the league, and points are going to be tough going around when you have shots like Everton and you're dropping points to people. They've already dropped points, I think, to Bournemouth and some others. So Wolves is, going to struggle, in my opinion, all year long to stay right near that drop zone. So the goal difference is important. Gary O'Neill knows it'll get better under him. It got better at Bournemouth. I think he's a good enough manager to maybe keep this group up, especially if they could buy a player or two and one or two of their signings work. But it's too early days for that, in my opinion. So go at them, score early, get this thing up 2 by half. I think that's my goal in this match. Be up 2 goals by half, and I think you walk the second half and you get minutes for Bastic and Endo. Don't do that. Go into the half 0-0, and you start bringing on guys you didn't even want to play in the second half early. And that doesn't bode well to have to play a game in 48 hours on Tuesday. And we're going to have to get used to this, right? This is the beginning of the tough run of fixtures, on Thursday next week. So this is the beginning of that tough run. So 3-0 Liverpool, we get out. You all get some more rest. And before you know it, it'll be noontime. And it'll be afternoon. You can crack beers. I'm on vacation, so I'm about to hit the fridge in about 5 minutes.
2 goals at half sounds nice. I'm going to get disciplined about 2 extra times backstage after this all ends by Timichin. I hope everyone has a wonderful morning.
The Polish pauper. No longer a prince, being downgraded.
This might be the last time you guys see me on here, so it's been a blast. I've enjoyed every moment with all of you.
Sign the petitions.
Good show, guys.
I need the comments to come in and save me here. But yeah, let's hope for a nice kind of easy flowing win. Come back on the pre-match in good spirits, crack open a couple beers. I'll have to go to work, but that's besides the point. So thanks everyone for tuning in. I'm surprised we had some fun comments to go along this early, and hopefully everyone's going to have a great time. And we'll see you in about 2 hours. Take care, everyone.
Let me go eat something here.